It's a peaceful morning in an Australian suburb. The streets are silent and the neighborhood is deep in sleep. In just a few moments, this calm will be shattered. Armed officers will burst into homes, their flashlights piercing the darkness, revealing the shocked faces of criminals abruptly awakened. Similar scenes will unfold worldwide as a massive crackdown on organized crime begins. From Asia to Europe and finally to the Americas, police in 16 countries will launch coordinated raids. They will target drug labs, hidden warehouses, and private residences. Nearly 9,000 officers will make over 800 arrests, seizing around 40 tons of drugs, countless weapons, and millions in cash and cryptocurrency. This is Operation Trojan Shield, the largest sting operation ever conducted by the FBI and Europol. Entire criminal networks will vanish overnight. At the center of it all is this phone. Applause. This video is partially inspired by the book Dark Wire by Joseph Cox, an investigative journalist who delved deep into the criminal underworld. Due to the anonymity of some sources, not all information can be independently verified. We highly recommend reading the book. Encrypted phones are unique devices, often lacking cameras or GPS designed for maximum privacy. They are used by politicians, military personnel, corporations, and, of course, criminals. The market for these devices is vast, with brands like Sky ECC, Encrochat, and Phantom Secure dominating the scene. These phones don't come cheap. Phantom Secure, for example, charged up to $22,000 for a 6-month subscription. One key feature of these phones is the kill switch, which allows users to remotely wipe all data if the device is compromised. This makes it nearly impossible for law enforcement to gather evidence even if they seize the phone. Over the years, authorities have shut down several encrypted phone companies, creating a void in the market. In 2018, a shady businessman named AFU saw an opportunity. A former associate of a notorious Australian drug trafficker, AFU decided to create the next big encrypted phone, Anom. Built on modified Google Pixel devices running a custom OS called Arcane OS, Anom appeared to be a normal phone with dummy apps like Tinder and Netflix. However, entering a special code unlocked its true purpose, a secure messaging app for Anom quickly gained traction in the criminal underworld with features like pin scrambling and a kill switch. But what users didn't know was that the FBI had a backdoor into the system. Every message sent through Anom was secretly copied and sent to law enforcement. The FBI, along with Australian authorities, monitored millions of messages, gaining unprecedented insight into global criminal operations. By 2021, Anom had over 12,000 users and was used in 45 languages. However, the operation faced legal challenges as courts questioned the admissibility of evidence obtained through Anom. So, when the operation concluded, it resulted in hundreds of arrests and the seizure of massive amounts of drugs and weapons. But the long-term impact remains uncertain as legal battles over the evidence continue. The operation also raises important questions about privacy and the use of encryption in a world where it's essential for both criminals and those fighting for freedom.
The year is 2021, a year marked by unprecedented global challenges and significant breakthroughs in law enforcement. The FBI and global partners celebrate a massive victory against organized crime. This victory was the result of years of meticulous planning and international cooperation. Operation Trojan Shield, also known as Anom, has infiltrated the encrypted communications of criminals worldwide. This operation was a game-changer in the fight against organized crime. For years, criminals have used encrypted devices, believing their conversations were secret. They felt invincible, shielded by technology that promised absolute privacy. They openly discussed drug trafficking, money laundering, and even murder plots. These encrypted conversations gave them a false sense of security. Little did they know, the FBI had a secret weapon, Anom. This tool was designed to look like a secure messaging app, but had a hidden agenda. Anom was a Trojan horse, a seemingly secure messaging app. It was marketed to criminals as the ultimate tool for secure communication. However, the FBI had the encryption key. This key allowed them to unlock every message sent through the app. This allowed law enforcement to read every message, gathering irrefutable evidence. The criminals had no idea their every word was being monitored. It was a global operation, with agencies from Australia, Europe, and beyond participating. The scale of this operation was unprecedented, showcasing the power of international collaboration. The operation promised to dismantle criminal networks and bring countless criminals to justice. The success of Operation Trojan Shield marked a significant milestone in the fight against global organized crime, proving that even the most secure systems can be infiltrated with the right strategy and cooperation. The early results of Operation Trojan Shield were impressive. This unprecedented global sting operation, orchestrated by the FBI and other international law enforcement agencies, aimed to dismantle some of the most sophisticated criminal networks in the world. Thousands of arrests were made across the globe. From Europe to Australia, law enforcement agencies coordinated their efforts to strike simultaneously, catching criminals off guard and ensuring maximum impact. Police seized tons of drugs, weapons, and millions in cash. The sheer volume of contraband recovered was staggering, highlighting the extensive reach and profitability of these illicit operations. It seemed the FBI had struck a major blow to organized crime. The operation was a testament to the agency's strategic planning and execution, showcasing their ability to infiltrate and disrupt criminal enterprises. The operation exposed a complex web of criminal activity. Detailed charts and diagrams revealed the intricate connections between various criminal organizations, painting a clear picture of their operations. It showed the global reach of these networks. Crime hotspots were identified across continents, underscoring the need for international collaboration in tackling such pervasive threats. Gangs that had operated with impunity for years were suddenly vulnerable. The coordinated raids disrupted their activities, sending a clear message that no one was beyond the reach of the law. Their leaders, once thought untouchable, were now facing serious charges. High-profile arrests and subsequent trials marked a significant shift in the fight against organized crime. The success of the operation was attributed to the sophisticated technology used and the unprecedented level of international cooperation. Advanced surveillance tools and cybercrime investigation techniques played a crucial role in gathering evidence and coordinating actions. Law enforcement hailed it as a game-changer in the fight against crime. The operation not only disrupted criminal networks but also set a new standard for international law enforcement collaboration, proving that united efforts can yield extraordinary results. However, the celebrations were short-lived. Legal challenges soon emerged, threatening to unravel the entire operation. Germany and Australia, key players in the operation, began to raise concerns. Courts in both countries questioned the legality of the evidence obtained through Anom. In Germany, a court ruled that the data obtained through Anom could not be used as evidence in court. The court argued that the operation amounted to mass surveillance, violating the privacy rights of German citizens. Similarly, in Australia, legal experts questioned whether the use of Anom breached the country's telecommunications interception laws. These legal challenges cast a shadow over the operation's success. The legal challenges in Germany and Australia had far-reaching consequences. If the evidence obtained through Anom was deemed inadmissible, it could lead to the collapse of countless criminal cases. Prosecutors were now facing the prospect of having to drop charges against suspects. This raised serious concerns about the long-term effectiveness of Operation Trojan Shield. Some argued that the operation had been rushed, with insufficient consideration given to the legal complexities. Others worried that the focus on securing high-profile arrests had come at the expense of due process and the right to a fair trial. As legal challenges mounted, experts began to question the true impact of Operation Trojan Shield. The operation, which was initially hailed as a groundbreaking success in the fight against organized crime, soon found itself under intense scrutiny. Legal experts and analysts started to dissect the methods used and the actual outcomes achieved. Some argued that the operation had been overhyped, with law enforcement agencies exaggerating its success. Press conferences were filled with bold claims, and media headlines often painted a picture of an unprecedented victory. However, behind the scenes there were growing concerns about the true efficacy of the operation. Joseph Cox, a security researcher at Motherboard, conducted an in-depth investigation into Anom. His research aimed to peel back the layers of the operation and provide a clearer picture of what had actually transpired. Cox's meticulous approach involved analyzing data, interviewing key players, and scrutinizing official reports. Cox's findings raised further doubts about the operation's effectiveness. He discovered inconsistencies in the reported outcomes and highlighted areas where the operation may have fallen short. His report suggested that the initial success stories might have been selectively highlighted, while less favorable results were downplayed. He argued that while Anom had led to some significant arrests, it had also resulted in the prosecution of low-level offenders and individuals with no prior criminal history. This raised ethical questions about the operation's broader impact on the justice system, and whether it was truly targeting the most dangerous elements of organized crime. Cox also questioned the FBI's claim that Anom had disrupted major criminal networks, suggesting that these networks were likely to adapt and find new ways to communicate. He pointed out that criminal organizations are often highly resilient and capable of quickly evolving their methods to stay ahead of law enforcement tactics. This adaptability meant that the long-term impact of Operation Trojan Shield might be less significant than initially thought. Beyond the legal challenges, Operation Trojan Shield also raised serious ethical concerns. Critics argued that the operation amounted to entrapment, with the FBI essentially tricking criminals into committing crimes. They worried that this tactic could lead to the targeting of innocent individuals and the erosion of trust in law enforcement. The use of Anom also sparked a debate about the limits of government surveillance. Some argued that the operation was a necessary evil, justified by the threat posed by organized crime. Others, however, saw it as a dangerous precedent, fearing that it could pave the way for mass surveillance and the erosion of civil liberties. The debate over Operation Trojan Shield highlighted the growing tension between security and privacy in the digital age. Governments around the world are increasingly using sophisticated surveillance technologies to combat crime and terrorism. While these technologies can be effective, they also raise serious concerns about privacy violations. The use of encryption in particular has become a flashpoint in this debate. Encryption technologies allow individuals to communicate securely and protect their privacy. However, they also make it more difficult for law enforcement agencies to track criminals and terrorists. In the wake of Operation Trojan Shield, some law enforcement officials called for greater access to encrypted communications. They argued that the so-called going dark problem, where criminals use encryption to evade detection, was hampering their ability to investigate crime. These officials proposed measures that would weaken encryption or allow law enforcement backdoor access to encrypted devices. However, privacy advocates fiercely opposed these proposals. They argued that weakening encryption would make everyone less safe, as criminals and hackers could exploit the same vulnerabilities. They maintained that the right to privacy, including the right to use encryption, is essential for a free and open society. Operation Trojan Shield exposed the complexities of balancing security and privacy in the digital age. There are no easy answers, and the debate is likely to continue for years to come. Finding the right balance requires careful consideration of the competing interests at stake. It requires transparency from governments about their surveillance activities and robust oversight mechanisms to prevent abuses. It also requires a nuanced understanding of the technologies involved and their potential impact on both security and privacy. Ultimately, the goal should be to create a world where we can enjoy both security and freedom without sacrificing one